Track is hard, but Army, the competition has been top-notch. Thousands of fans on hand tonight for the super modified two-wheel drive competition as Mark Miller out of Richmond, Virginia comes to the line in the Mini Brute machine.
The Mini Brute Chevrolet Miller. He's a young up-and-comer in the sport. He's a gentleman, I tell you that. The youngster takes a shot, middle of the track. The weight, a little bit off, I would say. He starts to sky a little bit on the end, Richard. I believe the Ford's going to be safe in that lead.
Mark Miller, 267 feet 7 inches. As we were speaking of the tremendous fan following for this event, 22 years in the running now, here in Bowling Green, Ohio, the most prestigious pulling event in America.
And keeping in with the theme of being a festival, Bowling Green, Ohio, Truck and Tractor Pull Championships, what do you do between the rounds? Well, you go and you visit your favorite driver. You stop by the T-shirt stand, get a chance to pick up an autograph, see up close and personal what all this wild equipment's all about and all the categories that are going to be competing in the weekend tour. Redman people invite them all down to have a good time. That's what it's all about. Fun in the sun in Ohio. Where are you folks from?
Toledo.
Toledo, Ohio. So you're not too far away from home. How often do you make it to the Bowling Green event?
Every year.
Every year. How many years have you been coming?
About the fourth year.
This is about my third year.
What do you like about it? Why do you come to Bowling Green?
Just wide open power.
Well, I've been coming here about as long as it's been here.
Why do you people keep coming back to this event?
Love it, and I've pulled myself, pulled minis before.
Young man standing here with us, is he going to be a second-generation puller?
Well, maybe someday if we get some more bucks.
How about you, son? You think you're going to be able to be a puller someday?
I'm going to be.
No, this is about our 6th year here.
Why do people keep coming back to this event?
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot to see these wild people.
It seems to be just a real good time event. Is that the way people look at it?
Yeah. The pulls are great. People are great. It's just a good time.
You know, it seems like a real good marriage between the fans and the competitors. You all like what they're doing for you, and they really appreciate the fans coming out. Do you get that feeling also?
Yeah, one of the nice things is to come into the pits like this and be able to watch the guys work and do their own thing and then get out on the track and see if it worked or not or if it didn't work. It's a lot of fun.
Well, you can pretty well sum up Bowling Green this time of the year in one word. And Army, that would be awesome. Coming to the line next is an announcer's nightmare for calling names. It's Dwayne Ogden and Sassy out of Jessup, Georgia. I bet you can't say it twice.
Richard, we're going to be watching him take a shot. You notice the weight transfer on the sled. That's what the sport's all about. Progressively, as they go down the track, the weight comes forward, and that's what's going to catch Sassy. He's trying to go on the other side at 278. I don't believe he's going to do it, Richard.
Dwayne Ogden shuts her down 266 feet and 2 inches for the Sassy machine out of Jessup, Georgia. As coming to the line next, one of my favorite guys on the circuit. He's real personable and he's real good. Mike Stowe, Bad Dog out of Warrington, Georgia. Mike is currently at a very tight race with Wayne Roush's Model G for the Redman TNT National Points Championship.
Currently, his main objective is to not only try to take a win here, but he's got to stay in front of Wayne Roush to hold on for the national championship. This is a very important event. The Ford, heck, can make the horsepower. He leans on it. Richard, looky here. The ground speed's starting to come around for him. He's looking good. This is why he's up in that national point chase. Stops it with a 2.70, Richard.
270 feet 7 inches from Mike Stowe's Bad Dog. More of a whipped pup tonight here in Bowling Green as we go trackside.
What exactly is the track looking like out there?
Well, Army, it was good and firm when we started. Now it's getting a little boggy in the middle of the track, and I don't know, it could probably go one way or the other. I didn't feel too bad about my run. It took me a ways to get going, but I thought my weight was pretty good when I did. But, you know, you don't know. You just take the best shot you can. You're here, and you just do what you can.
Well, where are the ZZ Top fans tonight? We've got the guy out of LaGrange, Texas, Tim Mikowski, serious business, ready to take it seriously down the track.
Early model Chevrolet relies on Jerry Janke, another Texan to put the horsepower to the track. Let's see what's going to happen. Cassie starts to unload a little bit. The weight sled chasing him down the track. It's going to pull him down, Richard. What's the distance?
Mikowski, 269, 6 inches. So nowhere close to our leader, Canadian Roger Cochran leads it with 278 feet 1 inch. And you know, coming into the competition, Army, Roger Cochran's name was not mentioned very often as being a contender for the championship. But here he sits and he's happy about it.
Well, the Ford fans got to be tickled to death this evening in Bowling Green, Ohio, as Roger Cochran sits on top of the pile. out of Canada. Now, let me ask you a question. There are 35 vehicles. You were awfully early in the field. What goes through your mind as each of these fellows are taking a shot at you, Roger?
Well, you get pretty nervous out there. It's a lot of trucks out there and a lot of good ones.
Do you think you can hang on to win this thing?
I don't think so.
Think the track's going to get a little bit better as we go later in the class?
I don't really know. I just don't know. I'm really happy with what we've done so far, and I hope it holds up. But if it don't, we'll be back again for tomorrow.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Canadian's got to be awfully proud of this young man. He's got him #1 right now. Let's see if he can stay there.
Roger Cochran looking like he ought to be a lumberjack up in Canada. He's not really confident of being able to win this competition. He was a surprise leader as to now, but he doesn't think he's going to be able to hold on, Army.
Richard, I think he's actually stunned to be in this #1 spot. You know, a win at Bowling Green is something. This guy's got a chance to go out of here a winner tonight.
And here comes another winner in his own right, Richard McPherson, the Missouri Raider out of Circleville, Ohio.
Relies on the aluminum Rodak engine on a 23 Ford body. Let's see what's going to happen. Father and son team out of Ohio. A decent run, Richard, real decent.
274 feet, 7 inches for McPherson's Missouri Raider machine as we get ready for one of the real dandy gentlemen on this circuit, Ken Lamont and the Plano Toolbox Midnight Express out of Crossville, Illinois. Ken, not only a great driver, but as a lot of people know that travel the circuit, he's a real practical joker, too.
Well, he's a joker on a week, but during the weekend, he's dead serious. Buku horsepower right here. No problem with horsepower. It's just how do you get it to stick to the Bowling Green clay, Richard?
Well, no matter how much horsepower you got on a wet track, it's all balanced out because of the condition of the track. 263 feet for Ken Lamont as we go trackside.
Ken Lamont at 263 inches. I know you're not really tickled with the run. Drawn late in the field tonight. That's not a good situation to be in at all, is it?
Well, it's hard to make horsepower work on a track at that slick, but, you know, you got to give it your best shot.
Well, if you had it to do over again, what would you do different?
I put a little more nose weight up. I had to get on a brake awful hard. It was dragging me to the right awful hard. And, you know, being back in the pack's better than running out of bounds, because that doesn't count at all.
We were noticing the sound of the engine. It was definitely making horsepower all the way through. You just couldn't get it to stick to the track.
Yeah, horsepower's not working in that track. You can see what the standings are.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got the Plano El Camino really running good. I know the people at Choo Choo Customs got to be tickled to death with you. Good luck the rest of the year.
Okay, Army, thanks a lot, and thanks to both the sponsors.
Oh, we are down to the final 6 vehicles in the competition here in Bowling Green. The question being right now, can the surprise leader, the Canadian Lumberjack, hold on to win it all? Back in a moment. Competitors, the question being, can our surprise leader, Roger Cochran, hold on with his distance of 278 feet, 1 inch? One of the questions to be answered next is coming to the line, Jerry Duncan out of Enid, Oklahoma. And don't you dare mess with his toot-toot machine, because that's the name of it.
Duncan has run with the toot-toot name on the side of his trucks for a long time, and he's tough. Believe me, he would not be in Bowling Green, Ohio, all the way from Oklahoma if he didn't think he could put a win down. Keep an eye on this guy. He's an old fox. He'll come after you in a minute. Look at here. Weight looks great. Now he starts the sky, Richard. Hooks it to the left. He's working back. Look at the horsepower of the Oklahoma truck.
But he jerked violently there coming down this wet track, 272 feet, 9 inches. Jerry Duncan's toot-toot took off, but didn't take off long enough to win the competition in Bowling Green. Robert Healy will be up next, the Miller High Life out of New Berlin, Wisconsin.
Healy with the Miller High Life vehicle. Watching this fella. He's pretty sharp. He lines up in the middle of the track. Now, slowly bringing a horse. Looky here. Bringing a horsepower in. The further down the track, the harder he's going. Look at the run, Richard.
The Miller machine with a good pull. 275 feet, 11 inches. That is going to be good enough right now to be behind Roger Cochran and Jim Lyons. 3rd place for Healy.
After drawing awfully late in the field of 35 vehicles, the Miller High Life Express shows it can be done. A late hook, but you were able to really put a lot of horsepower down on the track.
Yeah, it's a fairly tricky track. It's got some wet holes in it out there, and we were able to watch the track a little bit, but it is very tricky trying to determine which way it's going to pull the truck before it actually does it.
The engine never seemed to lay down. You made horsepower all the way through. How do you adjust your weight on this vehicle? A lot of guys were skying, a lot of guys keeping their nose down. Yours just looked like it was balanced perfect this evening.
Well, like I say, we just watch it. We've seen you got to get it out of the hole, but you got to have enough weight at the end to carry it, because when they skyrocket like that, you lose all your drawbar height, and then you're all done.
Well, the Miller High Life Express does exactly what the sponsor wanted it to do. He bumps up into the top 5.
And now we are down to the Final 4. And you know, Army, in the NCAA basketball tournament, the Final 4 the most important. It holds true also here in Bowling Green. 4 guys ready to knock off Roger Cochran, the leader. One of those guys is going to be Wayne Roush, which is battling for the national points title on the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Circuit against Mike Stowe. He'll be coming up in just a moment, but first, let's see Lige McLean, the rowdy machine out of DeMossville, Kentucky.
You're saying Final Four, you're talking Kentucky. You know this guy's got to be tough. 70 model Chevy sheet metal, builds his own engines. He and his lovely wife, Carol, follow the national circuit with us. Runs the rowdy name, has run it for years, a crowd favorite wherever he goes. He would love to put a win under his belt in Bowling Green. Nose down, now starts to power up. One cylinder was not hitting. Ground speed looks good, Richard.
Rowdy trying to be ready, but it doesn't look like quite enough. 267 feet, 11 inches for Lige McLean. And our next competitor, a guy I'm not really familiar with, Army, Brian McDonald. McDonald's delivery machine out of Harwood, Maryland.
This youngster is new in the sport, but look at the vehicle. These street riders all over the country love him. It comes out with a fiberglass replica of a 23 Ford C-Cab, an old ice truck, if you will. That's the body. Then he's got the stretch wheelbase and mega horsepower, 2,000 horsepower, big block Chevrolet sitting right on the nose of the McDonald delivery. Let's see what this kid can do out of the state of Maryland, Richard.
Well, as we said, though, no matter how much horsepower you got, it is balanced off by the fact we've got a wet, hard track in Bowling Green tonight, and it's reflected on Brian McDonald's pull of 273 feet and 1 inch as we are ready for a real showdown of showdowns of sorts. Wayne Roush, who is neck and neck with Mike Stowe for the Redman TNT National Points Championship. Here he comes in his yellow Model T. Wayne is a legendary name in the sport of pulling, and he needs these points to possibly win the 88 title.
Well, Roush sits here in kind of a unique position. He's involved in 2 events right now. Number 1, this event, but also number 2. He's trying to catch Stowe for that national point lead. Stowe sets out looking strong. Roush is trying to go after him as well as the Canadian Ford. I don't believe he's going to do it, Richard. The Dodge is pulling down on power.
Wayne Roush shuts her down 270 feet 5 inches. So, Army, actually, we have 2 stories coming out of this pull of Wayne's. Number 1, Mike Stowe will finish higher in the standings tonight here in Bowling Green. But more importantly, Mike Stowe picks up some valuable points on Wayne Roush in the overall championship of the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series circuit.
Richard, we'll keep everybody up to date as they're chasing the points to see who will be the national champion.
Well, are you ready for this? We are ready for our final competitor. It is Charles Nicholson. He is out of Culpeper, Virginia. He drives a little bit, and he has got to beat 278 feet 1 inch to claim the title in Bowling Green tonight.
Chevrolet out of Virginia sets it to sled. At the bottom of the field, he's got 1 shot to get the Canadian Ford. Like we said before, it's 1-on-1. The Ford's out there on top. The Chevrolet's going after him. Virginia after Canada. Let's see what's going to happen. Distance to beat, 278 and change. Ground speed's not there. Richard, the emergency hatch came open, no problem. Now he pulls into ground speed, a good run, but I believe the Ford's going to take the win in Bowling Green.
Charles Nicholson, 265 feet 10 inches. So what a shocker we have in Bowling Green. A guy coming into the competition no one thought could win it. We'll be back to show you the winning pull of Roger Cochran in a moment. Getting ready to head out for the night as we had a shocker of a winner. Roger Cochran, the Moore Whiskey Machine out of Bowmanville, Ontario. The Canadian crosses the border and gets a surprising win here in Bowling Green, Army.
Richard, I want to congratulate Roger. He took a risk at the very beginning of this class. 30-something vehicles in the class. He had to guess where to put the weight. He guessed right. He hung all the weight on the rear. The track did not come around like a lot of people thought it would. The horsepower was there. The Canadian just laid down a perfect shot for the conditions he had to pull under.
And you know, one of the biggest problems that competitors have here tonight, Army, is because of the track conditions, the vehicles were jerked all over the track. It was hard to get any kind of groove at all.
Well, some of the drivers were telling us about soft spots, and you can see where the Canadian Ford had no problem. He kind of just drove through the spots, went around them, if you will.
Well, that was a winning pull, not a full pull tonight, 278 feet 1 inch. As we look at the final top 5 standings from this super modified 2-wheel drive competition in Bowling Green, Ohio. Coming in 5th place tonight was Jeff Chapman, 274 and 1. Fourth went to Richard McPherson, 274.7. Robert Healy with third, 275.11. Jim Lyons out of Louisville was second, 277. And Roger Cochran, the surprise winner, 278 feet and 1 inch. It's been a great show in Bowling Green. A great crowd once again. For Army Armstrong, I'm Richard Leek. We'll see you again on the tracks across America.
Join us next time for Power Tracks, the most powerful sport on earth. Brought to you by TNT Motorsports, the nation's leader in pulling and monster truck racing.
Turning the power on. Engine reeled up and it's raring to go. Gotta get it right, can't be too slow. See the lightning, hear the thunder.